What's the darkest secret your roommate kept from you? The air in our dorm was thick with tension. A silent war waged in glances and Lysol sprays. Ethan, my roommate, wore his disgust for my queerness like armor. Every doorknob I touched was a battlefield he'd disinfect, every shared space a boundary he'd redraw with bleach. His toothbrush lived in exile on the far side of the bathroom, and once, he tossed a perfectly good sandwich into the trash because my breath had dared to linger near it. Just being careful, he'd mutter, eyes avoiding mine, as if my existence carried some invisible plague. Yet, every night for 3 weeks, the darkness told a different story. I'd wake at 2 a.m. heart pounding, to the soft creak of my door. Ethan, sleepwalking, would slip into my room, navigating the labyrinth of our dorm's hallways with uncanny precision. He'd climb into my twin bed, his arms wrapping around me, warm and heavy, as if my body were a safe harbor. His breath would steady, his body curling against mine, peaceful in a way the daylight Ethan could never be. The contradiction clawed at me. By day, he'd flinch if our hands brushed near the coffee pot. By night, he'd hold me like I was home. I kept a mental tally of the absurdity. Daytime Ethan wouldn't share an elevator, recoiling like I was contagious. Nighttime Ethan used my shoulder as a pillow, his warmth seeping into my skin for hours. I wondered if he was just lost, a sleepwalker confused by the dorm's layout, but our rooms were worlds apart, 3 turns and a bathroom between us. Our other roommate, Zach, swore Ethan had never wandered before I arrived. Sleeps like a corpse, he'd said, shaking his head. One night I tested him. I left my laptop open, Grindr glowing on the screen, knowing he'd see it after his evening jog. He walked in, froze, and launched into a frenzy. 2 hours of scrubbing every surface, muttering about diseases and boundaries. He threw out our shared bag of chips, his mantra of, can't be too careful, hanging in the air like smoke. But that night, like clockwork, he came to me. This time he was restless, tossing and mumbling fragments of a secret war within himself. No, can't, not supposed to like. And then, sharp and clear, I'm not like him. My heart stopped. The pieces fell into place. I started recording him. Not to shame him, but to hold proof of this fractured truth. The footage was haunting. Ethan, who treated me like a contagion by day, clinging to me in sleep, whispering my name like a prayer. The next morning, I couldn't take it anymore. As he blended his protein shake in a separate blender, mine was apparently tainted. I leaned against the counter and asked, Ethan, are you gay? The container slipped, powder exploding across the floor like a snowstorm. His face strained, eyes wide with panic, as I showed him the video. He watched himself, exposed and vulnerable, and I saw his walls collapse in slow motion. He whispered, barely audible, that he'd been fighting it for years, raised to believe people like me like us were wrong. The cleaning, the cruelty, it was all a desperate act to bury his truth. I felt his shame, heavy as my own, and told him gently that his subconscious was braver than he was. That night, he knocked on my door, awake and trembling, asking to talk. We spoke until dawn, unraveling years of fear, family expectations, and the weight of living a lie. Months later, he came out to his parents. It was messy, painful, but he said it felt like breathing for the first time. And in that quiet dorm room, where secrets once slipped through the dark, I learned that sometimes the heart speaks loudest when the mind is asleep.